Ethan here with the delineation desk, and today we are looking at a heavily invasive species here in the southeast. There are several, but the one we're looking at in particular is the Chinese tallow tree. It was brought over first in the 1700s as an ornamental tree, and then they also realized that they could use it for soaps and everything else. But they started planting it, and lo and behold, it was very adaptable and started taking over. So let's take a look. So here's the tallow tree. It's on my fence line, and you can tell it's actually partially dead. These guys really don't have a long lifespan. They grow very fast, and they die pretty quickly. I think it's maybe a 50-60 year lifespan. I'll have to fact check that. But you also have Campsis radicans on it. You have poison ivy growing on it. You have Virginia creeper growing on it. But you can see here that the tallow has heart-shaped leaves, and it's not really fruiting right now, not the right time of year. But yeah, I also have one over here too, kind of the same situation, partially dead. Tons of vines, poison ivy and Virginia creeper growing on it. But yeah, again, a big issue with these trees is that they're very adaptable. They grow very fast. They can take over and become the dominant tree within 20-30 years. They grow very fast, and I think there's a really high germination rate for these trees. Some more about the tallow is that it has allelopathic capabilities to where it actually hinders native vegetation growth. Something to do with the soils and how it changes the composition within the soil. And cattle even can't really eat it because the sap is poisonous to them, and hence why in a lot of your degraded cattle pastures there is a ton of tallow, at least here in the southeast portion of Texas that I'm in. I see that quite a bit. It's a very common thing to see while driving on the highway or wherever. Some final thoughts on the tallow. I have read that the bees make some pretty decent honey with the tallow, and it actually is really tasty. And then the oils can be used for many different, there's a lot of opportunities with the oils in the tallow, and can be used for petroleum and other things, and the wood can be used for furniture. So there is uses for the tallow, and people are realizing the density ratios, because tallow grows so fast and there's so much germination that it makes pretty dense strands, and so that's useful for fuel, different fuel opportunities. And so there is positives here, but at the end of the day, we shouldn't be planting these for ornamental trees in our yards. We definitely should be going with more native species. So the best way to do that is to find your zone, find, obviously where you live, your zone, and figure out, okay, what native species grow here? What's good for my area? What's good for my environment? Is this tree is this tree more drought tolerant? Can this tree handle more rainfall? More wet weather, humid weather? So it just depends on where you're at, depends on what you're looking for. But yeah, I would discourage tallow trees as much as, they do get pretty in the fall time when the leaves change. You have reds and oranges and different shades there, but definitely would recommend finding you some native species. So if you like this, please like and follow my page, subscribe, and yeah, more content to come.